Hi everybody, I'm Gloria Estefan and this is Billboard.com. I hope that the fans listening to Miss Little Havana have as much fun, first of all, as I did creating the record, because I've got to tell you that it is one of the most fun projects I've ever done. Pharrell and I really clicked. The one thing I think that we did differently as well, that I haven't done on any of my albums, was that while we were writing, we were recording the album. For example, my daughter would come in, nothing would be there. She'd see the whole process all the way to the singing of the song, and I think we captured a lot of raw emotion. The tone of the record was kept in lower keys, and I think that also added a sizzle and a sexiness to it, and we got a really good gamut of what we consider different kinds of dance music from Pharrell's world and from mine.
Miss Little Havana, 17 with a body just like a
Miss Little Havana was the song that Pharrell brought to me to present the idea that he wanted to do for this project, and he had written it for me, and I loved it. It's kind of 80s freestyle mixed with Pharrell's urban sensibilities and brought to present day. Kind of created this character for me, kind of a little edgy, tough, girl that's out on her own, trying to look for freedom from her parents, from her life, and it really set the tone for how I sang the whole album.
I can't believe that it ended up being you and I can't believe.
Can't Believe has got this delicious Brazilian Bahia sounding chorus when it finally gets into it. Here we are with Miss Little Havana now on the dance floor. She meets her ex that she hadn't seen in a while, and the attitude, which is what's reflected in the record, is, you know what, let's just have a good time, let's not rehash what went wrong, let's just have fun and dance and have a good old time. There's very little bass on the whole record. Usually it's the 808s that are carrying the low end, so this song does have a bass that comes in, which I think just takes the song and takes it into overdrive. Heat. I love Heat. And, Pharrell arranged and performed the first 9 tracks on the record. He had done amazing arrangements of percussion and everything, but I really wanted to bring real percussion to the project. And I stayed very true to what he had arranged and done. But when he heard it, he flipped. We've got the timbales and the congas just kind of battling it out. It's really supposed to be, just people letting go. It's also a very sexy song, and when that timbal comes in, I love that. Wepa is the most different song on the entire album. It's about how the working man and how anybody can just have a great time with music and dance. Wepa is a merengue in its core from the Dominican Republic, but it's just like in overdrive. I wanted to give it a very kind of carnival, festival feeling that the type you hear in street parties in Brazil or in Cuba, that people would go down the street dancing, just crazy Caribbean feel to it. The song actually started talking about dance, but as it kept progressing, I go, Pharrell, this music is too sexy to say the word trombone in the song, which is how we had written in the verses. I want to take it somewhere else because it's really making me want to go there. He goes, okay, take it somewhere else, but I want you to do it in Spanish. Because I want people, when they hear this thing, to wonder what you're talking about when you switch to the Spanish. It's based on a cumbia rhythm. We have 2 cumbias on the record. This is the first one. It's got that amazing horn section, and when I brought in the horns, that I told Pharrell, give me a shot, I really want to do this with live horns. He flipped. He loved it so much, but I stayed very true to the length of the notes as he played them. The horns are actually carrying the bulk of the harmonic background of this record, which I find really cool and different.
And it feels so good, so good, so good, so good.
So good. Another sexy one. This is a straight up cumbia. If you took out that one little synthesizer and the fact that it's in English, this is a cumbia directly from Colombia. We use the actual drums and all these special things. One from Venezuela, where he's from, Archie Peña, the one that did this. And also the drums that are used in typical cumbia. I would say, if I had in a nutshell what this record is about, I would say Pharrell, horns and drums. the first 9 songs. Right Away was my kids' favorite song. Something about it speaks to them. It's kind of reminiscent of old 70s disco. It's got the, the wah-wah guitar that we put in, the only guitar on the first 9 tracks. It goes from very sweet to nasty, and I love that. When it gets nasty, we were sitting there, and I go, "Oh, you know what? This is a Cuban conga." And I whipped out one of these old, like centuries-old congas, and I sang it in there. And he goes, "Oh my God, you gotta put that in there. That sounds amazing." Make Me Say Yes is reminiscent of early 90s techno pop. We were trying to explore all the different kinds of dance music that have been a part of my experience, have been a part of Pharrell's life. I love this because it's got a lot of layered vocals on it. It's got a very different sound from the rest of the record. It's one of my favorites from the get-go. Time is Ticking is probably the most personal on the record. When we did it, I told them I want to have at least one ballad for my fans because this has been who I am through my career. And it's literally talking about my memories growing up in Miami. It's kind of like Little Havana now, reflective. You think, is this the end of her life? Is she looking back on something special? I always like to leave things open for people's interpretation. What I love musically about it as well is that it goes from this, Pharrell sounding and very modern sounding ballad to a straight up salsa in the choruses. This is legit just salsa when it goes to the chorus of Time is Ticking. We have soneo, which we did in English. That I don't think I've heard anyone do that yet. Something that happens in salsa tunes. I kind of start doing it in English, and then we go to Spanish again. That whole mixing of those worlds. Hotel Nacional is actually the biggest hotel in Cuba, very, very popular. Anybody that went to Cuba, you went to El Hotel Nacional. So it's reminiscent, the two-tone shoes, the things that in my culture kind of jump out at me. And we wanted a very woody, kind of old-fashioned sound because it's jitterbuggy, this song. So it's got clarinets, it's got, saxes, and a whole different vibe. It just sounds like you could be in the 20s, but hardcore dance. The chorus, say goodbye to the sunlight, we own the nighttime. It just shifts. It's like to a completely different modern song. But that's definitely one of my favorites on the record. On, we worked with Black Dada, who's an amazing Haitian artist. We wrote this song and we wanted it to be very world African sounding as well. You've got all these layered harmonies, and you have my little girl shredding on the guitar. That all the guitars on there is Emily playing the solos. She added this like really cool, just like rock, edgy solo to this very African world sounding beat. It was fun. I really enjoyed it very much, and he was a joy to work with.
You make my heart go.
Make My Heart Go is a merengue, like a techno merengue, which has El Cata, really hot rappers, very popular, rapping on it and singing along with me there. It also has the brass section that is killer. You could strip out the dance part and it is a straight up merengue from Santo Domingo, but it's got this real hard edge with like the big drums, and it's a very, very cool mix. To me, music has always been medicine. Music, dance, those things that unite us as human beings. What it's talking about is that each and every one of us, we know exactly what we have to do to make our life the way we want it to be. We know it. Sometimes it isn't emphasized enough how much power we have over our own lives and how much control. My medicine has always been music. We wanted to do some extra tracks because Pharrell and I had finished. We really had nothing else to say, and I know people's attention spans are short nowadays, but then we wanted to explore dance as like hardcore dance because I had done a record back in '98, Gloria, my first dance record, and I wanted to explore that now in today's world. It has all these different sounds.
Let's get loud, let's get loud.
I kept telling Pharrell, when we did this, I feel like when I was doing Primitive Love and Let It Loose, and I've got that feeling working with you here, and I really had a blast recording this.